Coming up tonight on the news at 5, Governor Bullock urges Montanans to step up and slow the spread of COVID-19 as cases skyrocket. Plus, businesses are pleading for customers to stay loyal and help them through this pandemic so they don't have to permanently close.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
Good afternoon and welcome to the News at 5. I'm Jessica Nelson. Thank you for joining us. Governor Steve Bullock and state health officers made another appeal to Montanans to step up their efforts to stop the spread of COVID-19 in the state. They said if Montanans don't strictly follow public health guidelines, the state's hospitals and economy will be overwhelmed. In his first public appearance since losing last week's U.S. Senate election, Bullock repeated many of the warnings that he's issued before, but he said the situation is getting dire for Montana, with 10,000 new cases reported in just 11 days. He also said more restrictions could help slow the spread, but without federal aid from Congress, it would hurt too many families and businesses even more. State Medical Officer Greg Holzman said hospitals are becoming overburdened and Montanans cannot sit and wait for a vaccine. Bullock said the state is preparing to distribute a vaccine when it's available.
I asked Montanans certainly to do this, not for me. Do it for the many who are working in our crowded hospitals to make sure that you can still seek care. Do it for those in our communities who are making sure that you can get a test or that a business can safely stay open.
You may have noticed some unusual data in the state's daily COVID-19 report today, including no new cases reported in Lewis and Clark County. We reached out to Lewis and Clark Public Health, who told us the data did not get into the system in time to make the daily update. The case count from yesterday and today are expected to be included in tomorrow's state report. Public Health says nurses are very busy right now. Officials did not have an estimate for how many cases would have been on the report today. And as those COVID cases continue to rise, many Montana businesses are feeling the impact firsthand. Many have real concerns they may have to close their doors permanently before the pandemic is even over. Before the pandemic started, No Sweat Cafe in Helena would regularly be packed full of customers every morning with hour-long waits on the weekends. Manager Eli Eller says they are lucky if they see a quarter of that business right now. No Sweat, like many other businesses, have taken advantage of grant opportunities, but that money has to be spent very specifically and doesn't come anywhere close to replacing lost revenue. Eller says there are a lot of local businesses that need customer support right now, even as small as making a purchase every couple weeks.
It doesn't take a whole lot to shore the local businesses up right now. It just takes a lot of people doing it.
We'll have more from No Sweat and Bad Betty's Barbecue coming up tonight at 6. All right, time now for a check of our forecast this Thursday. Does your suit tell us that snow is coming? Because it's awfully white over there.
My name is Curtis, and I'll be your server tonight here. Good afternoon, everybody. Anybody else hungry, too, after that story right there? We've got the new storm moving our way. A high wind watch here for parts of Lewis and Clark County, a little further away from the Rocky Mountain front out through the Judith Gap area. High wind warning for right on the Rocky Mountain front, and a winter weather advisory in the western part of the state. Not a winter storm warning. There is a winter storm warning for the panhandle of Idaho right there in northeast Washington, also down around Jellystone National Park and the Island Park area as well into northeast Idaho. But we will have some wind and some snow coming through Montana. Mainly up on the passes, though, and in the western side of the Continental Divide. We'll talk about those pass problems coming up. A bit of a breeze will be moving through here this weekend. You can say that and more. And melting, warmer temperatures, melting some of this snow. I'll have more on the forecast coming up.
Thanks, Curtis. Health officials in Choteau County are expressing frustration with people refusing to quarantine or wear masks. This week, the Choteau County Health Department took to social media with a grim warning. They said people who have been deemed close contacts to positive COVID-19 cases are saying they won't quarantine. The CDC recommends close contacts quarantine for 14 days after being exposed. They also said residents are refusing to wear masks. The state is reporting 91 active cases in Choteau County County at the last check, with 12 new cases reported just today. Health officials warned those numbers will go up if residents do not follow the rules.
You know, a while back, we even had a post that said, we know some of you aren't going to wear masks, and we're not going to change your mind, but please do these other things, you know, like wash your hands and avoid crowds and cover your cough. And, you know, if you can't do one thing, at least do as much as you can.
Helena city leaders are asking for public input after they released a major projects proposed for city parks and open lands. MTN's Jonathan Amberian breaks down what's on that list.
The City of Helena's major projects list for 2021 includes a variety of proposals, and they've come both from city staff and from the public. City Parks, Recreation, and Open Lands Director Christy Panozzo says this is the first time they've put together their project list using a new public process approved earlier this year.
I think we are trying to make sure that we are listening and receiving input from the community on the projects that they would like to see and the projects that they think are important.
The city proposed improvements at several trailheads, including new facilities at the old shooting range trailhead and adjustments to parking areas at 2 others. The city also decided to recommend 4 projects from public proposals. They include a new ADA accessible trail and new rock climbing routes on Mount Helena. Much of the work for those projects would be done by citizen groups and other volunteers. The City Commission will have the final say next month on which projects move forward.
We may not be able to implement all of these projects within the next year, but we will at least potentially get them started.
The city will be holding an online open house next Thursday to provide more information about the proposed projects. They'll also be taking public comment through December 4th. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Helena city leaders say in the future they plan to put out this type of project list regularly, possibly every year. Well, 2 local meetings are underway right now involving marijuana. Cascade County commissioners have just started a special meeting to get public comments on rezoning proposals, including expanding where medical marijuana dispensaries can open. The Substance Abuse Prevention Alliance is also hosting a virtual meeting with local and state elected officials to talk about substance abuse in Great Falls. That includes discussion about the bills approved in last week's election, legalizing possession and use of small amounts of marijuana in Montana. A unique event is underway to help Great Falls young and expecting parents. The United Way of Cascade County has partnered with Family Connections and the local Child Abuse Prevention Task Force to host a virtual baby shower. Today and tomorrow, the United Way will be holding free 20-minute informational sessions for expecting parents. If you attend one of these free sessions, you will receive a gift bag with baby essentials, and you will also be entered into a drawing to win a larger prize.
In the COVID crisis where, things are locked down and services are a little bit harder to get to and, unemployment is skyrocketing, the stress is even greater. And so just being able to reach out to them rather than making them come find us is super important.
To sign up for a session tomorrow or to find out how you can get more information about the topics discussed, head to our website. Okay, when we come back, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenance has a full forecast update as well as a sneak peek into what we can expect this coming weekend. And later, our Joe St. George talks with Trump supporters on what they think it's going to take for Biden to reunite the country.
Now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenance.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the calm before the storm. That was today's weather. It was pretty nice out there. A little breezy in some areas, but sure was nice to have that sunshine. 30 degrees in Great Falls. Southwest winds, 25 miles per hour. One of those winds. And in Helena, nice sky conditions throughout the day. Temperatures were up around the freezing point. Now we're down to about 30 degrees, and the wind, fortunately, is light. Still pretty cold up around Glasgow and Williston, North Dakota, into the teens here. Well below 0 out there around Harlem. Got all the way down to 11 below last night. That's pretty chilly. And the winds, those normal windy locations, Livingston, Great Falls, Cut Bank, even Havre, a pretty good little southwest wind has developed. Nothing on the radar here just yet. The next storm beginning to move into Washington and Oregon. 4, maybe 5 inches of rainfall here, likely up around Seattle and down through Portland, and there could be as much as 60 to 80 inches of snow up there around Mount Baker and then also Mount Rainier. Otherwise, pretty quiet, still dealing with a little bit of Eta and some flooding into parts of the Carolinas. That was that hurricane that moved into Florida yesterday. So here's what will happen in Montana. Mostly cloudy skies here tonight. We will see the next storm arriving tomorrow with snow around the glacier area up through Kalispell and Whitefish, mainly staying west of the divide. We may have a couple of snow showers trying to sneak over the Continental Divide into around Helena. The little belts, the big belts will be picking up some snow here as well. And there will be, again, around Helena, especially into the hills, some snow falling here through Friday night into Saturday. We may get a couple of snow showers down into the valley on Friday night. But most of that snow, notice, is staying here west of the divide. Little snow out the High Line here on Saturday. The Bear Paw Mountains could get hit pretty hard, but partly cloudy skies by the afternoon. Now, snowfall amounts, again, it's really on and west of the Continental Divide here. Here we are by tomorrow night. The little belts, the big belts, the crazies, but really you can see on the Rocky Mountain front around Glacier, and then also off towards the west, some heavier snow there. A little snowy, sloppy day around Lincoln for tomorrow. So mountain passes from Friday night into Saturday. Marias really getting hit hard. McDonald Pass really just up on top, 2 to 4 inches. Kings Hill about there. Boulder maybe nothing, if maybe an inch or two. And then Rogers Pass about 2 to 4 as well. So not the worst weather, but combination of snow and wind will make it a little slow heading up over the mountain passes. Not as cold tonight as it was last night, although Malta 10 degrees, that's pretty chilly. Teens and 20s in central Montana and teens and 20s, mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies here overnight around the Helena area. Tomorrow, a little snow around Browning, Babb, really close to East Glacier and to Glacier National Park. Very windy here across north central Montana. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, a little more sunshine the farther east you go. Lewistown, windy, some snow in the little belts. The big belts, Deep Creek Pass could see an inch or two of snow. And maybe a couple of mixed rain and snow showers late in the afternoon, the evening around Helena, with a better chance of some snow showers into the higher terrain around town. Helena, again, a couple of showers, brief little spits of rain and snow on Friday afternoon, evening. Saturday, some sun coming through with a couple of snow showers, again, mainly in the mountains. Maybe a snow shower on Sunday. Really, we're not looking at anything like the last couple of weekends and the storms we had. And there's a warm-up Tuesday into Wednesday. We're popping up into the 60s. And for Great Falls, maybe an isolated shower late, a couple of snow showers north of town on Saturday. Monday, maybe a little mix of some rain and snow. Tuesday and Wednesday, we're up around 60 degrees.
It might be the biggest uphill battle President-elect Joe Biden will face next year, reuniting the country. 77 million voted for Biden, but 72 million voted for President Trump. Our Joe St. George met with some of those voters on the losing side to see what they say it will take from their viewpoint to end this division.
Just give it a second and it'll...
When you leave the big cities,
We're in Ligonier, Pennsylvania,
and head to places where burning leaves are common this time of year, you realize Joe Biden may be president-elect, but there's still plenty of support for President Trump.
Since I was 18, I voted Democrat every time except for this election. I voted for Trump.
Out here, you meet people like Scott Will, who for the first time in his life voted Republican. Nationwide, President Trump received around 10 million more votes than 4 years ago. That's more votes than any president in history, except Joe Biden.
My dad, he's a Joe Biden fan. He's called me and teasing me about it.
While President Trump lost, his campaign did better in several key areas. In Kenosha County, Wisconsin, President Trump did 3% better than 4 years ago. In Miami-Dade County, Florida, President Trump did 12% better. And in Youngstown, Ohio, an area known as the Mahoning Valley, President Trump actually turned the county Republican for the first time since Eisenhower. For perspective, in 2008, the Obama-Biden ticket won here by 30 points.
The funny thing is, Trump stole the Democratic message. Can the Democrats steal it back?
Paul Sarasic is a political scientist at Youngstown State University. He says Trump's legacy may be forever changing key regions politically. Sarasic says voters who blamed old trade deals for job losses liked that President Trump got rid of some of them and promised the old jobs back.
They were waiting to hear that message. Trump didn't create these voters. They were waiting for Trump.
Whether this country can be united after this election will come down to places like Youngstown. Will they give President-elect Biden a shot? What do they think of the election result?
To me, it's confusing.
At Thanos Restaurant, we met Ken Morrow, who in 2016...
I voted for Bernie.
But this time around,
voted Republican this time.
He says for the moment he doesn't know what to think about the result, but he says President-elect Biden needs to keep his message simple.
We need a lot of good paying jobs around here. Everything is gone.
I'm very, very conservative.
In regards to respecting the president-elect.
You know, he's going to be my president because I'm American and I'm a patriot.
Every Trump voter we talked to, like Gene Hasey, says the office will get their respect. But they told us respect doesn't mean unity. Achieving unity will be a tall task.
I think it's going to be very hard. Very, very hard.
In Youngstown, Ohio, I'm Joe St. George.
All right, coming up next on the news at 5, a story of 2 teammates who have stayed in the game and are now coaching.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back with us. The 8-man football semifinals fire up on Saturday with Fort Benton and Flint Creek putting their undefeated records on the line. Tom Wiley has more on why this battle of Class C powers takes on a little extra meaning for the coaches.
When Fort Benton hosts Flint Creek Saturday in the 8-man semifinals, it'll be the first time that Longhorns coach Jory Thompson and Titans coach Mike Cutler have met on the field as opposing coaches, but their history goes a lot further back.
Both of us were kind of looking at the potential of this game happening and kind of looking forward to that. We both have senior sons. Absolutely, there's been some text messages back and forth this week. And
Thompson and Cutler were teammates at the University of Montana Western in the early 1990s, where both played linebacker.
And Cutler was a hell of a player for sure. He was a great linebacker in college, super tough guy. And I sat behind him when I was a sophomore.
Their position coach at the time was none other than current Montana State football coach Jeff Choate, who was in his first year as a student assistant after injuries derailed his playing career.
They actually played the exact same position, and I can remember starting Jory over Mike, and that being like, there was bad feelings about that.
They chose to start Jory for a game or two, and then he never saw the field again.
That's absolutely true. Yes. Yeah. Anytime there's competition, there's going to be some friction, right? I respect the heck out of Mike Cutler, but at the time when you're 19 years old and you start 3 games as a sophomore, and then they decide to start the senior over you, where as a 19-year-old, I thought that was a pretty poor decision, but as a 48 years older, I can see in hindsight that was a good decision.
Cutler and Thompson are both in the Montana Western Hall of Fame, and they've both gone on to have successful careers in education. And they both have sons that are senior stars on their respective teams. But Saturday will mark a new chapter in their history, one that's built off mutual respect and a healthy dose of competition.
And this is his swan song. He's announced he's going to retire, so I'd love nothing more than to send him out, not getting his last one. So
there for about 48 minutes. I don't care one bit about him. Mm-hmm. In fact, I hate him. So,
and you can bet their old coach will be paying attention.
I have a little bit of torn allegiances this week. I'm really proud of what they're doing, not because of what they've been able to accomplish in terms of wins and losses, because I know what kind of men they are, and I know what they do for the young men underneath them, and it leaves a great legacy. I wish it was in the state championship game instead of the semis, but if somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose.
Tom Wiley, MTN Sports.
An update from MSU tonight. The director of athletics for the Bobcats says they plan to start the basketball season, but this year no fans will be in the brick. They say this is precautionary to keep players safe as COVID cases continue to rise. Okay, still to come, the Macy's Day Parade will still be happening this year. I'll tell you how it will look a little bit different.
When we welcome our West Coast viewers, dozens of high water rescues after Tropical Storm Eta makes its 4th landfall, and why this record storm season still may not be over. Plus, some grocery chains acting now to ward off empty shelves as a new COVID wave sweeps the country. On NBC Nightly News.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 5.
The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will look entirely different this year due to the pandemic. More than 3 million fans usually pack the 2.5-mile parade route. This year, there will be no fans, and the famous floats will only float for one city block. There will be 4 Broadway performances, but all of those will be taped in advance. There will still be some celebrity appearances and a performance by the world-famous Rockettes and a visit from Santa. Now, the parade usually requires 8,000 to 10,000 workers. This year, the event only needs 1,500.
Love that parade. I used to get to go backstage all the time as a kid for the Macy's Day Parade. My godfather was a mounted unit captain on the mounted unit in the NYPD. Elsewhere in the state here, we've got some wind coming in this weekend. A little mix of rain and snow on Monday, and then for Helena, mostly cloudy, a couple of snow showers tomorrow, and very windy this weekend.
All right, fun facts about Curtis tonight. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Have a great rest of your night. Nightly News starts next.